I think there's only one place to start because Super Bowl, and which has created a lot of discourse for everyone, including myself, on LinkedIn, which was
Yeah,
great. So thank you
interesting.
very much, LinkedIn, to everyone who essentially interacted with me. And yeah, I've got a lot to say just on that specifically later. But it would be good to see where your head is at from that performance. What did you? I mean, I know you didn't watch it. I stayed up to watch it specifically. I said I'm not a massive NFL fan, but it was a good game. A couple of people in the group chat were like, "Yeah, you need to watch it." I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll put the time in." But obviously, the key attraction was the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm just going to say from I know it could come. I know I've got friends who think I'm a massive Drake fan, so obviously
Yeah.
there's a biasness to this. But on that specific point, I was very focused and happy in terms of hip hop. So I was looking forward to seeing what Kendrick was going to do in the picture of the genre,
Okay.
because I feel like he's the representation of that.
Okay.
So I was really like, the beef was, I had my view on it, and I kept it open minded. I said, you know what, remove that from everything that you've understood,
Mhm.
and let's look at this performance just from a hip hop standpoint. So I was really excited, and I wanted to see what the build up was. But keen to understand what you found and what did you see, and you watched it later and stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that you just said there is the fact that you're not specifically an NFL fan and you decided to tune in because of the significance of the performance. I feel like there would have been a lot of people in your position where this performance is almost like a gateway into the sport. And
Which
so,
we have to praise. We have to praise that from a Jay-Z creative perspective,
of course, they've made it a
viewership.
spectacle. I
Yeah,
think, there's that this is kind of like it's not a test, it's been going for years,
yeah.
but I've heard that they're looking to try and create this type of model within football. And the grandeur of it, you kind of understand. Like if they were to have this in the 15, because it is 15 minutes, in the middle of a Champions League final, I don't know if I have a problem with it. It'd probably be harder to please the crowd in that way because it's not tailored to one region, but I don't know if I have a problem with it. But that being said, it's a gateway. It's a great gateway marketing moment. It's kind of one of the ads that they run effectively.
But
But
with that Champions League point, just to pull you up, is it because of legacy? That legacy is never been a thing, so now we're introducing it. Whereas I think the NFL halftime show has been the thing
yeah,
for, you know what I mean? It's part of that brand.
yeah.
Whereas now in Champions League, you're like, I don't really want to spoil this because it's kind of what we're used to.
Well, I think that it's not necessarily legacy. I think the reality of the sport and
Yeah.
how the action of the sport is played. In an NFL, you're used to having stops of attention. I can't imagine 3-0 Liverpool Champions League versus AC Milan, 3-0 down or whatever it was at halftime. And then bloody Kendrick comes out. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be get this guy off stage. I just want them to get back. You're not gonna be. Your nerves will be jangling. So I don't know the way that football is and how
I can just
tight it
imagine.
is, like, and invested you can get, and how fast paced it can be at times, and there's just the fact that the ball's in play for more time than the NFL is. I can't imagine a performance. Your performance could sink because of the fans'
Yeah,
emotions at that time,
you'd
or
just be booed the whole
you
time.
know what I mean? Because
Like
they
that
just
that match, that 3-0 match. Can you imagine losing 3-0 and it's the first half and you see cheerleaders on the side
Do you
saying,
know what I mean? Come on, let's go. Like someone like, Sabrina Carpenter comes and starts singing Espresso. You're just like, get out. Just get out. So, yeah. So I think that's potentially the difference, but I feel they'll try it at some stage anyway.
I think they've
Um,
started a bit already with like Pepsi Max show and
yeah.
being the headline, and it's
Plus, you
inevitable.
don't drink in your seats, so
Yeah,
everyone's just gonna go to the bar
very
and
true.
then come back. But anyway, but look, it's the gateway into the NFL for a lot of people, and I think this performance for Kendrick was billed as such a big thing because he'd won Grammys, okay, which were a long time coming, um, for the tune that he made. He had the beef with arguably the biggest rap artist. Nobody can deny that Drake is probably for a while been the number one rap artist globally, most well known. But also more significantly because it was in New Orleans, and New Orleans, as we know, one of your favorite rappers, is Lil Wayne's hometown, and it was a controversial decision not to give it to Lil Wayne. Now, as a gateway into the sport, if you've got all of that behind your performance, and then you have to carry the significance of the performance in your performance. You have to, the effervescentness and how you display yourself and how you command the crowd and how you interact with the crowd and how you get them involved and how you hype everyone up. It needs to be top, because the world is watching. And especially when you are Kendrick and you are the significant artist that you are, the world is watching.
And it's like you just said, it's part of the brand of the NFL that it needs to be it just needs to be the top tier. It is the peak of as an artist, one of the big things he's going to take away now is I've performed. That's on his CV.
Yeah.
Apart from the Pulitzer Prize, and I've performed at the Super Bowl. That's a massive deal.
Yeah. Over there for anything. For the marketability of yourself as an artist, it is a big performance.
It means you've crossed over in a sense.
I saw a quote, and it's true. The Super Bowl is like marketing Olympics in America. Like a Super Bowl ad costs about $8 million for a 30-second ad. Like it's the nation is watching you, like in more than the nation. So that is the perfect point to market yourself as an artist. So if you want to develop your brand and show, I am the performer that you want to come and see, I am the person you want to listen to their music and the album, I want you to be XXX as a fan. That is a platform. And for me, I think it felt flat. I think Kendrick himself was flat. The artistic direction, the set, the narrative created behind the imagery and kind of the cinematography of everything that happened,
it looked really good.
Was A1.
Yeah, it looked really good. Choreography is really good.
Really good. You had some of the best dancers. There's a dancer I like called Kid of the Great. He was just one of the dancers in there. So you probably they'd handpicked the best and the finest dancers, choreographers, and it must have been a blast to work on creating the set around him. But I think that swallowed Kendrick.
It's a good point.
The entire Samuel L. Jackson, the grandeur of it, the concept behind it, and things that went over people's heads, but things that were tucked in as metaphorical symbolism and stuff like that. I think it was a bit much. It's the first time I've seen Kendrick look not flustered, but
the stage
not match up to the stage. Yeah,
I agree. Because the performance that came to mind was the one he did that section with Dr. Dre a few years back.
Yeah.
Where he was part of that and that was incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't know, even the way he had dressed at the time, it fit everything.
Yeah.
Whereas this time, not just the optics, but I feel like he got this moment of a song. It was like if you pick up a social media star, like one of those one-hit wonders, and they have this song that goes viral and everyone just wants to hear that one moment. He won Grammys off that song. He won. I would agree. I don't think he would have had the Super Bowl if he hadn't had that reaction to Not Like Us. So, and then it got to this point where I was just watching it and I hadn't properly listened to the GNX album. I like the way he tied in with the car, like the cover. So there's familiarity straight away. You're like, okay, now we know where we are. This is another era, or I guess an alternate, what do you call them? Like a personality, an alternate, like, you know what I mean? That's what artists do. They rebrand themselves, right?
Yeah.
So I saw that. I was like, sick. It's going to be pretty cool. There's been a couple of songs which I've heard from that album. I'm like, not really familiar, but I know they've been making the rounds because of his hype. And I just feel after he started, it just continued to just be this subdued, he was rapping, which again, I think there's a nuance to this that we need to say good on him for taking that art and saying, this is who I am. If you like it, cool. If you don't, tough luck. I respect that, but it's the Super Bowl. Like, you look at Usher had a catalog of hits that are undeniable.
Yeah.
It's these are 20-year-olds to 45-year-olds will hear the song of Usher and they know who it is, they know what it is. I don't think he has that. He does not have the catalog, and it's a catch-22 where I respect that they pushed it, and it's great because you need to break these molds, and I guess create conversations that it's done. So objective has been hit, but if you look at the artist, I don't think it's the right time. Again, it's based off a moment. It's not based off. If it was based off Good Kid, Mad City, I'd be like, fair enough, because it's an universally acclaimed album. You know, I don't think the GNX album had that grandeur. Had one or two songs with that mustard catchphrase. He got the meme from that. The performance also, I felt it went very marketing. He got like a custom jacket. He got the bell bottoms, got people talking about his fashion. And then he got the meme where Serena Williams is crip walking. He got another meme around Samuel L. Jackson. I'm just like, but what is it about you are we buying into here? Do you know what I mean? And then, it raised a lot of questions. I was like, you've insulted a lot of people. Great. Like, I'm fully behind that, whatever. It's rap. But you've had one of the artists, SZA was amazing, by the way. I thought she carried some of the performance.
She was the most animated person to put, like, she was more animated than in the short time she got. She was like, yeah, I'm here, so I'm gonna make this count.
And before, like, everything was top notch.
Yeah,
everything was top notch. So respect, like, again, they've put it together really well.
Yeah,
I don't know. There was something about it at the end of it. I was just like, is that it? Is that what this is? Rap and hip hop has come to? Like, he's the totem pole. He's the guy now. Everyone is saying, you guys need to look at this guy because he's undeniably a smart person, intelligent rapper, great, but I don't think he has the universal number, if that makes sense.
The thing for me as well is that it's telling. Okay, fair enough. Like, you're not always good. I think what you said about that one song syndrome is very true. People do have a song that they want to hear, and I think this one was his. I think the thing about somebody like a Lil Wayne that would have made that better is it's his hometown, so it's going to go off. But Lil Wayne's catalog,
yes,
it's like the only time, and it's a performance, mind you, by the way. And this is a problem that I have, because anybody should be able to go to somewhere and listen to music. But there's something that I feel happens quite frequently, is that artists go and do these major tours, and, you know, fair play to them, off the back of this one song. Kendrick has got more than one song, but it's not songs now, and it would have been a bit off timing and off brand for him to start bringing those songs back now. Lil Wayne, Drake,
Ludacris.
You know what I mean? Like, right. There's so many different artists. Even they did the West Coast stuff. Why couldn't they go and do it like even if they were going to say, okay, we're going to do an East Coast special, like, just to mix it up. But there's so many artists that have songs that would get at least 50% of the crowd singing every lyric. And that, for a Super Bowl performance, when you're trying to entertain and when you create people together,
it's a moment in time where you want to enjoy yourself, and, you know, you sing along, just like sing along songs, you make memories of these songs with your friends and family, right?
Exactly. When you're thinking about the performance, when you're thinking what's going on in the stadium, from a marketing standpoint, the content that comes out of it when you're sharing with people, you want them to feel like, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the performance and the artistic direction, fair enough, you might have wanted to see it live, but you can see that on TV, and it's like, cool.
If probably better as well. Probably you can see it better.
You can see it better because the angle you've got is better, and you can take it in and drink it in. But there, if you want people, you want to see crowd. I want to see what the crowd are doing. I want to see people singing along to every word. The only time I heard everyone sing was when they all said A minor, and it's like, you know, it was loud. But bar that. But if you had somebody else, it would have been infectious energy. The crowd singing, dancing, vibing, where you think, damn, maybe I should go just to experience the Super Bowl. How much is a ticket? Do you know what I mean? I'm going to watch this. Look at that's what gets the shareability. It's a performance. And at the crux of it, it's like all the other stuff that dresses it up, it should be secondary to the performance. And I think they they missed the trick by not getting Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne would have given the performance of his life, because it would have meant so
More.
much to him, and he would have had songs that everyone in the crowd would have known, because they in America
It's
they're
like
very patriotic. They rep
it's like
themselves. They know the
even like
areas.
a cultural nuance about New Orleans. You'd have got like, I don't know, the marching band out, like something to
Some
tie in
you get what I
culturally.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like something
It
that
was a
breaks
missed
in.
moment, man.
It
It was a missed
it
moment.
was really missed, and I think, for the investors that paid to get Kendrick there, for Apple, who kind of were the biggest investor. Yes, there's a lot of people talking about it, but it doesn't do them. I don't think it does them the favors that they could have gotten. You know, um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I'm fully on board with that. Like for me, Lil Wayne was like, I understand he's not got new music, but he's got a new album coming out. I think there's political stuff in the background that
mm,
just limited that from happening.
mm,
From what I was reading, there was rumors like at the beginning, not beginning of the sometime middle of last year, where he was already being like there was clips of him and Jay-Z like out and about and talking. So everyone was like, oh, he's probably gonna get the Super Bowl because it's a no-brainer.
mm,
It's an easy goal.
yeah,
You get the chance to bring out the big timers and the hot boys,
yeah,
and come on, man, like that would have been. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure would have said something about if Kendrick wasn't there and be like, how could you not have him in some way, shape, or
yeah.
form? But again, what annoys me is like Kendrick also has some songs, but he didn't perform them, like Humble, and if you wanted to send
He
a
did
message,
humble, but it
like
was like two
yeah, a
seconds.
DNA, swimming pools,
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like that's He has something to show, and everyone be like, oh, I know this song. Yeah, of course I remember it. Come on. Especially when you're leading into this, what we're going through in the moment is like, I feel it's reflective of, I guess, what's the word again? When you're, shit, man, my brain is just like not functioning. Um, when you lean back into what you were before, like
nostalgia.
nostalgia. Yes,
Yeah,
that's it. It's kind of what's happening with marketing, right? Like we're doing this whole nostalgia thing. Why did he wear bell bottoms? Come on, like that's what we're doing, right? So if you're gonna do that, like put the nostalgia aspect of the
in that
songs
with the
that you
music.
did,
Yeah,
get people thinking again, and remember. Oh, I remember when I heard this song,
yeah,
and it starts to bring that feeling of
yeah.
like the moment. Yeah, they missed a trick, in my opinion,
They did.
and I'm sure there's people there that are Kendrick fans who are like, yeah, this was really great, and it hit all the boxes for me. We all enjoyed it, but then you look broader, it's not there. There was like now rumors about fake crowd noises.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Like, what are we doing? Like, we're talking real. Is this what we want to book rappers for and hip hop?
Yeah, there's a divide. There's a divide in the culture, and the divide of what is considered the culture's favorite rapper. And I think sometimes, I can say about rap culture, it's force fed what should be culturally significant to people, as opposed to people making their own opinions. And I think with that is something that it's almost like you're being told that you need to appreciate this.
And that's what I really hated about what the backlash of what my comments on LinkedIn were.
Yeah.
I really did not like the fact that people are like, well, you didn't get the performance. It went over your head.
Well, to be fair,
You're
say your
not on this
comment, because I
level.
think it was so eloquently put, and the way you dissected it actually made total sense. And if in marketing people aren't allowed to have a difference of opinion, I think then things have gone left. Everybody's allowed to be able to converse and debate and go back and forth with opinions, and everybody leaves the room understanding
Well,
another person's
what
point of
art
view.
is.
Yeah,
That's what art is.
it's
It's
supposed
art
to.
is supposed to be a area or performance or whatever you want to call it, drama, whatever. Any piece of art
Yeah,
is an area where there's a commonality between people who you feel comfortable expressing yourself in
exactly,
your own way
exactly,
without being judged.
exactly.
Right? So when you're giving me this performance and I've interpreted it in a way, like I'm not gonna lie, most of the comments that got responded to was obviously American because there was an American who posted it.
Mhm.
And it was like I could see already some of the comments that responded to me saying, oh, you just don't know about music.
Mm.
I'm like, how have you judged that from a comment I've made? Is it an appearance type of thing?
Read the comment out. You might want to actually read the post out to
Yeah,
give the
so
context,
I mean the post is massive, it's really long, but the
the general
beginning of
crux
it
of it. Yeah,
was like last night's halftime show wasn't boring or trash. It simply went over your heads. So already he started on a, you know, wrong point. Just admit you were asleep. We'll keep praying for you. Here's what you missed. And then he broke down, the message is clear. Da 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 da. They would have preferred Lil Wayne on stage, high and reckless, pushing Drake, aka the system's poster child, to promote their agenda. And I was just like, hold on a second.
yeah, that's very salacious. Yeah,
I was like, the first thing that you've completely dismissed is like people have gone, it's gone over your heads. So you've already created this
divide.
barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you're saying stuff about people being part of a system. It's not a back end performance at some club. We're talking about major sponsors of the Super Bowl. This is part of the same system that you're talking about, this poster child. He's doing the same thing.
Exactly.
What are we talking about here? It's not some back end bougie
This
thing.
is the most commercially invested, backed in performance that you could have.
You have Apple Music.
You have marketing $8 million for a 30-second ad.
You're telling me it's not the system.
This is the biggest.
For me, it was just like, in terms of the response, I just said it went over your head because it's when you say that, it's a very easy way to dismiss valid criticism. And you're basically just saying you're creating this space to be like, well, you're not part of this area, so you won't understand that. You know what I mean? And that really annoys me, especially given the fact that I wasn't a huge rap fan when I was growing up, because it's in Kenya. Like, you don't get access to that music. The first mixtape I ever downloaded was Young Jeezy and Gucci Mane, and I was like, what the hell is this stuff? You know what I mean? On LimeWire. And then I heard Soulja Boy as well. I was like, oh, there's like this genre of rap which isn't like New York.
Yeah.
Getting into that mixtape circuit. You're just like, and then the comments I got, I was like, no, I liked what he did in an artistic view. I liked the visuals. I like what he represents. Don't come to me and tell me you don't know what you're talking about. And you wanted to, you wanted to book Kid Rock. I was like, I'm sorry, I'd rather prefer Lil Boozy and the Hot Boys to come on stage.
Yeah.
But keep judging my aspect of rap.
I think what it clearly is that there are people that feel music is music, and music is universal, and anyone can listen to music. And there's some people who feel they have this. I don't want to use the word. It's like but it's an entitlement to a musical culture, and that other people outside must be coming from an undereducated stance in that musical culture. And when they pass critique, it's like a child telling you something about football in the 90s.
It's actually happened yesterday. So the AJ Tracy song with George Smith.
Yeah.
I saw people saying like it was like a really good song because it's got elements of garage and grime. And I think a couple of American people retweeted and say, wow, this is like UK drill. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? This isn't, you know what I mean? It's exactly what you just said.
Yeah. But it's like, so that's how, I think with drill, there is, in garage, there is a UK entitlement.
You have to. So if you don't know, you don't know, basically.
But if you're from the US and you're getting into drill, I've seen it the other way around, where the UK is like, oh, what do you know about drill? Like, oh, what do you know about this type? What do you know about garage? You don't know about old school garage. Like, fair enough, you may be from the place where something is birthed, but one thing I've always understood in music is that there's certain people, when you're coming in from the outside, you spend more time educating yourself. Like, when it's not a native part of, you didn't grow up around it. Like, you didn't see it in things, but you get onto it late. You go deeper than a lot of people. It's like tourists. You come to England. I don't go to Buckingham Palace. I don't go to Trafalgar Square. I don't go and look for the history. I don't read about that stuff. I know it's here because I grew up in London. If you're a tourist, you come here, there's the first places you go to. You've probably read up about it. You want to go. You probably could tell me more about certain landmarks in London now than I could tell you as a tourist. And I think that's the same with music. Right? Your opinion as a late bloomer, so to speak, can't be discounted, and it should never be discounted, because there are people who take it seriously when they get into something. It's just they haven't found that tribe yet. But once they get in there, they're all the way gone. So I think it's a little bit condescending to then try and rubbish your opinion and diminish your opinion or belittle it because
And
you're
don't
not
get
like
me wrong.
us.
Don't
That's
get, yeah.
stupid. Stupid.
At the same time, it's like I get it that you need to be protective. I get it, but the whole point of this culture is to be inclusive. So how are you doing that?
Exactly.
And you look at people's background. I'm not one to flex about it. I grew up in Kenya, like not by my choice, but one of the things I pride myself in is the environment I grew up in. The culture was so mixed. I got, local, international, everything was there. And you grow up in that environment where you're picking off, and that's I think that's easily one of my strengths, is how I assimilate to different people and cultures, and that's your upbringing.
Yeah.
And that wasn't more like a dismissive thing. It's more like, I'm giving my opinion, but I also respect you. I want that discourse. I want to discuss where are you coming from, because I got some comments that said you didn't get this, and I'd openly admit it. I was like, wow, I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for articulating it in a professional manner, and we go on and we educate each other and we move on. That's fine.
That's the best.
Opinions help each other,
Yeah.
not like forced on you.
Opinions open perspectives, and you get to see something from another perspective, from another human's perspective, and you get to appreciate it. And then next time you can actually open your mind to thinking like that. It's so many different conversations in this world we could have, where those sorts of conversations are what the world needs. But there's people who are very quick to say, no, this is the way it is. And it's quite indicative of certain things that are happening in society, that there is this, you either get it or you don't. There's not you might think of it differently, and I might be able to respect that. It's like, you either get it or you don't. But then it goes back to the interpretation of the song, and they're not like us. It depends on what side you sit on when you interpret what us means. Kendrick's never come out and said explicitly what the us means, but it just depends what you interpret, and it creates that. Is it siege mentality? I want to like where you feel like, they're not like us, so this is ours, but it's like, who's the us?
50 Cent said something very specific around this when he was talking about it. He said what he's noticed is that on East Coast, it's not like that, in the sense of it's very division focused, because there's Philly, there's like, New York, it's very like, and West Coast, because of what's happened in the past, they're very centered around their culture. So anything that pulls the West Coast together, they will defend that from top to bottom. Because even if the sound comes out, this is us, this is West Coast. And I think that's, a lot of people are latched onto that and generalize it to be the whole culture. When if you look at it specifically, it's a West Coast originated thing.
Yeah.
And then most of the hip hop community have said, honestly speaking, I look at it, I say, I don't think they had anything else to assimilate themselves to, and they said, you know what, let's just, that's what we are.
Yeah.
And when have they ever universally agreed on West Coast music? Never. It's always been a divisive thing of like, no, this is from New York. We're going to stick behind New York. But once this came out, it was like, now we don't have East Coast, West Coast anymore? Are we now no more beef ever again? Is that done? So he made a really good point in it. I was just like, yeah, fair enough. I can see that.
It's unifying there, but then it should unify everyone, like it should unify everybody. I think people have interpreted it, and they're fighting a battle for it too far,
I didn't, there were certain points I was just like, he's done it, like the PS controller thing. I was just like,
he could have.
Great,
but
what does that do for, like, if I decide today I am going to perform and I have the stage like an iPhone stage, what is that even telling you?
Because you might touch the audience.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
you know what I mean? So
I'm just like, what is with this? Great, he got, like, do you think he sat there and designed the stage? No. He has a creative team that work and give you the vision, and he's like, I like that. Like, I really don't like that whole thing of, you didn't get this, where you're on a different level, man. Dude, the guy's got a PlayStation controller stage. Do you understand
Do you understand the significance of this?
Understand?
I used to play PlayStation when I was 12. It's childhood
So
memories.
the thing that you see for about half your life is an inspiration, and you say he's transcended everything above that. I'm like,
Look, yeah, I don't know.
anyway.
No, it is what it is. It's